Happy Devils Friday, a Friday night. This is The Woo Report. The Woo Report, episode 434. Titled, Same Glaring Weaknesses Plaguing Devils. I'm your host, Sam Woo. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Studios inside the bunker. Undisclosed location in beautiful New Jersey. Terrible week for the New Jersey Devils after having that wonderful Stadium Series game victory over the Philadelphia Flyers. And then since then, it's been a dud. A big dud. Losing to the Capitals, I believe 6-2. Losing to the New York Rangers last night at the Rock 5-1. Getting outscored. The power play, like JCP&L Electric, just always out. Nothing, no punches, no life, no enthusiasm, uninspiring hockey. The New Jersey Devils so far this past week. You still have Saturday. You still have Sunday at the Rock. But the glaring weaknesses that have been plaguing the New Jersey Devils still there. Still there. Hello, Michael Descala in the YouTube Live. And we will go over these glaring weaknesses throughout the podcast tonight. Because one thing I know, it is unacceptable the way the New Jersey Devils have been playing. Everybody is to blame. The coaches, the players, the GM, and in some respects, the fans. Last night at the Rock, there were a lot of New York Ranger fans in the crowd. This is before the game, and I'm not wanting to point fingers, but we talk about accountability. We talk about wanting to take responsibility. You, the fans, let me tell you, there were a lot of Ranger fans last night. I'm not blaming the fans on the loss, but it just was a horrible look and not a good way to give the team energy. But anyway, ANJ Devil 2 says, how can the defense look so good against the Flyers but look so horrible versus the Washington and meaning Capitals and the Rags, meaning the Rangers? Well, it's been plaguing the Devils for the last, 5 to 10 years. And it seems like it's deja vu all over again. And here, let's talk about it right now. Bruce Zeman, good friend of the podcast, says that the Devils are not only not playing well, but the same glaring weaknesses continue to plague this team. He said on a segment on a sports station this morning. Yes, Bruce Zeman, a good friend of the podcast, has the number one morning show up in Vermont, but a huge Devils fan. Number one, the Devils do not have a true number one goaltender. They do not have a true number one goaltender. What they have right now is an injured Vitek Vanacek. At best, he's a 1B. At best. And I'm being very generous here. At best. You've got Nico Dawes. You've got Akira Schmid. I'm not blaming Nico Dawes from last night. But goaltending still remains an issue to this day. And I know Tom Fitzgerald is going to try to fix these issues. And I've said it on this podcast that there's a lot more you need to fix than just goaltending. But that's still an issue. Number two, the defense. What happened here? After All-Star break, they started to simplify the game. We were loving this new look defense, playing smart hockey, playing like a team, not getting out of position, being efficient, puck management, breakouts were even better. And then all of a sudden, starting in the Washington Capitals game, it just fell apart against the Capitals and the Rangers. Terrible defense. I know we can make the excuses of, well, you know, it's a young core, Damon Severson, Ryan Graves. But you're going to have to live with the growing pains. Look, Luke Hughes, talented, but he's up at his career high mark in terms of the games played in a season, being his first full season as a rookie. He looks a little worn down. Dougie Hamilton, obviously out of the lineup, but he's more of an offensive juggernaut, especially on the power play. But the defense needs to get back to what they were doing right after the All-Star break. But here's something that we've talked about, another issue, another glaring weakness of the Devils. And I'm probably going to get myself in trouble here, potentially. But the team has zero physical presence, and they get pushed around and bullied, and there's absolutely no fight in this team. Here's an example last night. The Rangers came out tough. They weren't messing around last night. All right, they weren't messing around last night. I would say that the toughest guy right now on the New Jersey Devils is probably Nathan Bastian. Big guy, big forward, can fight, has size, and at least offensively. I mean, obviously Kevin Ball has some beef as well, but let's just start with Nathan Bastian. And here comes a new guy on the New York Rangers, whose I believe his career started at the Stadium Series game against the New York Islanders. And the first thing he did was fight with Matt Martin of the New York Islanders. So his role right now is to antagonize and impose his will and physical presence right off the bat. To give his team, the New York Rangers, some energy and get things started. Now, he comes into this game last night. First shift, Nathan Bastian, vicious hit. Nathan Bastian bleeding on the ice. Had to stop play. Obviously, Nathan Bastian got hurt. A hit to the head, an illegal check, which, by the way, is going unpunished by the NHL. But that's another story for another day. But what really pissed me off, is the New Jersey Devils, with the exception of Jonas Siegenthaler, allowed this to happen. Jonas Siegenthaler tried to do something about it. He's not a fighter, but he got his ass whooped by the same guy that just cheap shot Nathan Bastian. Remember what I just said. The team has zero physical presence and get pushed all over the ice. In that sequence, when your teammate gets a hit to the head that vicious, it shouldn't be just Jonas Siegenthaler taking care of business. It should be all the guys on the ice, no matter how big, how small, how insignificant you are in terms of being the enforcer. You stick up for your teammate. Again, you stick up for your teammate. And that did not happen at all. Alexander Holtz, I believe Noshik was on the ice. Only Jonas Siegenthaler tried to do something, but you should all be going after the culprit at that point. Forget about the penalties, because it's not like your power play is going to actually score goals right now, which, again, that's another thing we're going to be talking about a little bit later. To me, that was offensive. Because if you're going to wear that New Jersey Devils logo in the front, you got to have your teammates back, and none of them did, except for Siegenthaler. Lack of toughness, but not having your teammates back in that sequence, that showed the Rangers, I don't know, like almost like the Devils are a paper tiger. Just weak. And then that 5-minute power play that generated nothing. Let's just pass the puck. Pass it. Let's play the perimeter game. Let's not do the dirty work and get inside, cause some havoc on Shesterkin. Let the Rangers just bully us around a little bit more physically. And that's what happened. Tom says they have no heart and no balls. No, I think the Devils do have heart, but they definitely don't have any balls, except for Kevin Ball. But anyway, that's besides the point. Dubs is like, come on, Sam. Nobody on the Devils is matching up like Boogaard 2.0. Look, I'm not saying that they all have to be a bunch of Ty Domies and Marty McSorleys, but at some point, if that happens to your teammate, what happened to Nathan Bastian, you have to respond. Again, it doesn't matter if you're Jack Hughes or Palat or Dawson Mercer or Jesper Bratt. you have to respond and say, no, that's unacceptable. But instead, you got Jonas Siegenthaler trying to do his best, and I give him credit. He was the only one that had the courage to stand up, even though he got his ass kicked. But he should have had the support of his teammates, Siegenthaler, Noshik, and Holtz, to go after that Ranger that hit Bastion. This is not a playoff team, folks, because in the playoffs, you have to respond. That's like mandatory. You have to respond. But they got the 5-minute power play. Nada, zilch, nothing. And I'm tired of the Devils just getting pushed around. Pushed around. Because that's what all they have to do. Now let's get to the coaching. Because I've been feeling the heat, and rightfully so, about Lindy Ruff. And I've been one of the biggest Lindy Ruff defenders since day one. I'm not going to say fire Lindy, but I'm getting to the point where, Lindy, you can't be saying that the amount of pressure that the press or whatever that quote was is affecting the power play. Yada, 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 yada. You could say, obviously, no, there's a problem. The power play has been non-existent recently. And that's one of the things that I feared in the beginning of the season when the power play was at 50%. Suddenly the Devils weren't getting any penalties drawn, and they weren't on the power play as much, but it's been on a steady decline since the beginning of the season. And now, the Devils right now don't have the power play and the results to mask all their deficiencies on defense right now. That's why you're seeing them getting their asses kicked. 5-1, 6-2. The Devils were lucky to even get a goal last night. If it wasn't for Jack Hughes later in the game. But by that time, it's garbage time. The game's over at that point. There is really an issue with, I don't know what's going on with this coaching, because things were fine after the All-Star break. Like, we saw progress on their defense. It's not like, they take 3 steps forward and 1 step back. No, they took about 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 steps forward, 1 step back. Now they're taking negative 10 steps back. Last night was awful. Awful to watch. Fans were just booing. Fans turning off the game at home because it was so bad. And the Devils are going to have to figure it out. You've got back-to-back games right now this weekend. Winning will solve everything. I know it's a cliche, but winning solves everything. And they've got to come out and play a full 60 minutes, play physical, keep it simple, put the puck on net, but also drive to the net. A lot of the pucks that Shesterkin faced were just from the perimeter. Make a basketball analogy. They were shooting 3-pointers all night. Passing the puck around. too many times, looking for the best shot, looking for the right play, and getting really cute with the puck. Enough. It should be tic-tac-toe, not tic-tac-toe, tic-tac, tic-tac, tic-tac. And it's just horrible. Looking for the perfect play. And I've said this on the podcast, perfectionism will make you broke, and broke the Devils are because they're not scoring right now. They are not scoring right now. But they could turn it around this weekend. There's still time, but time is running out. You're leaving points on the table. This is a Metropolitan Division type of week against the Capitals and against the Rangers. And they fail miserably. And it just seems like the same old problems, the same old Devils. All of it is being exposed right now. Forget about the offense and the power play right now. You got to play much better defensively. You could build from there. But right now, the power play, it's time to change it up, Lindy. Because it's simply not working. You need a better front presence with that power play. And the goalie's seeing everything. Tom makes a good point. It's the same problem since Lindy got here, except last year. Also, has anybody seen Timo Meier? Every time we think that he's going to break out, he gets broke down. But not good, folks. The glaring weaknesses, the same ones that were there under the John Hines regime, believe it or not, are still there. And what about the team culture? What about going back to the past? Historically, Sergei Brelin is one of the assistant coaches on the team. But what was the Devils' identity during those 3 Stanley Cups? It was defense. Defense, defense, defense. Can we bring Scott Stevens in, at least as a consultant or something that the players can learn from? Or bring back Jacques Lemaire possibly as a consultant. I don't know. But changes are going to be needed. I'm not the one to fire Lindy Ruff and jump on that bandwagon. But it's getting close. It's getting close. Michael Scala, Larry Robinson, please. Absolutely. Can we go back in time and possibly bring some of these former players, coaches of the New Jersey Devils to teach these kids not only some of the basics, but taking pride in wearing that logo, that NJ logo, in the front of your jersey? This team does not have an identity. Last season, they were kind of like the comeback cardiac kids a little bit. They were so fast and furious. But right now, teams are now much more well-prepared to play against the New Jersey Devils than they were last year. But again, I think the Devils can turn it around. Just remember, joinourcrew.com. Sign up for the latest news on any events that the Let's Go Devils podcast will be doing. And tomorrow, Shorts Guy will be at American Whiskey, 51 Edison Place, across the street from Prudential Center, next to Championship Plaza. Sunday, I'm probably going to be there as well. Big shout out to Justin and Jake. Jake wearing the football helmet. And he was the king of the football calls last night at American Whiskey. All right, going to get out of here, hitting the music. Dropping the podcast at midnight. You're welcome, Michael Descala, for the therapy section. My goodness. The weaknesses of this New Jersey Devils team still there. But they're correctable. Can they correct it in time? Is it too late? I don't think it's too late. Well, stay safe, stay happy. This is the Woo Report. Till next time, let's go Devils.